Will 2024 be the year when Chinese and other Asian electric vehicles conquer Europe and the US? China's biggest EV maker just overtook Tesla in terms of worldwide sales, and Vietnam's VinFast is opening its first dealerships in the US. So to discuss how we've got here and what it all means, I'm joined by Peter Fintl from technology consultancy Capgemini Engineering. Thanks a lot for being with us, Peter. The Western electric car market appears to be changing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me, Rob. Yes, the Western European car markets, they are indeed changing. Yeah? So over the past years, those markets, they were a growth market starting from small numbers. Yeah, they were fueled by subsidies and attracting to higher end buyers. And now, as electric vehicles are about to hit the mainstream, the main market, yeah, we also see that subsidies get cut down, right? And in the next year, we need to see how consumers, with all the headwinds they are facing for their sentiment, yeah, let's speak about crisis around saving options and so on, how they will further adopt electric vehicles, yeah.
And what we're, of course, going to see over the next year is where those electric vehicles are coming from. So 2023 saw electric vehicle sales surge to new heights, of course. EVs made up 18% of all car sales worldwide. Let's just have a look at what were the best sellers around the globe, though. Tesla's Model Y is actually the market leader. Over 700,000 were sold between January and August of last year. That's more than double the sales of the number 2 selling vehicle, also from Tesla, the Model 3. But third and fourth for global sales are both models made by Chinese manufacturer BYD. And Chinese models also made up much of the rest of the top 10, I can tell you. The highest ranked European car is Volkswagen's ID.4, which actually only came in at number 8. So all of that data suggests that Tesla is globally dominant when it comes to electric car sales. However, something very interesting happened in the final months of last year. In the fourth quarter of 2023, Chinese automaker BYD delivered 526,409 fully electric vehicles thanks to aggressive end-of-year discounting strategies, whereas Tesla reported just 484,507 cars sold in the same time period. So it's a similar amount, but Tesla behind BYD. So the EV market at the start of 2024 is actually looking rather different to it did at the start of 2023. So let's bring back in Peter Fintl from Capgemini Engineering. How has BYD managed to creep up and overtake Tesla on fully electric vehicles?
I think what we see now, they are harvesting the fruits of a longer term strategy. Yeah? So the nice figures on the last in the last quarter. They are definitely the result of a good product portfolio and competitive products at nice prices. This is not something that happens overnight, right? So they have invested a lot in their product portfolio in various segments, right, from higher end to entry level, yeah, and now they are rolling it out to clients, and clearly they are benefiting also from a strong domestic demand.
They're also benefiting from over a decade of subsidies for Chinese electric car makers from the government in Beijing. So have they got an unfair advantage in that respect, that they can sell their cars for less as a result of these subsidies?
Well, this is a hot debated topic. Yeah, I think what is generally safe to say is that the Chinese government has provided a very favorable industrial environment for electric vehicle makers. Yeah, and brands of all kinds and from all countries, yeah, they are benefiting from this positive environment, yeah. So, and there is a reason why also Western manufacturers produce some of their electric vehicles in China in order to benefit from the strong supply chain, the competitive manufacturing costs, right, and the strong domestic market.
But clearly, the problem comes when those Chinese cars enter the American or the European market, where cars are more expensive, locally made cars are more expensive. And obviously governments in Europe have made quite clear that they're concerned about that. You've got France offering subsidies to e-vehicles purchasers that don't cover Chinese vehicles. And also Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission, has been very clear that she thinks Chinese cars are getting an unfair advantage. Meanwhile, in the US, we've heard similar things from President Biden. So could this also be the year when there's a backlash against Chinese e-vehicles entering European and US markets And actually we see, I suppose, a suppression of that.
I think we need to see what is the outcome of those investigations. This is in the hand of the politicians right now, and we need to see.
Yes, that's right. I should have mentioned Brussels is actually carrying out an investigation into these subsidies, isn't it? So that's the investigation you're referring to there. But can Brussels do anything? Can they do anything to stop?
I think you're fully right, Rob. So I think we need to see what will come out of that. Yeah, and no matter what we do politically on a tariff level, I think it does not release the European industry from providing competitive and strong, desirable products. Yeah, so because that no matter what you do at the border, it doesn't release you from your duty to provide excellent products. Yeah, and looking forward, is I think that Europe is still and will be a very attractive market for automotive companies, and an important one. And I think what we will see in the next years is that foreign companies, for example from China, they will start building factories in Europe, right? And also make Europe as a production base, not hopefully only for assembly, but also for components like battery cells and so on. And I think this will change the game and also level the playing field.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
It's a positive thing.
Yeah, because BYD, I'm just looking through my notes, has said that it wants to be producing 800,000 vehicles a year in Europe by 2030. But if it's meeting such resistance from even selling its cars in Europe, is it really realistic that it could be producing them here as well, based on the current price regime?
Exactly, and I think this is the question is always what are the boundary conditions in order to achieve those sales figures. Basically, I do believe that the market is ready to accept new and let's say new brands in the mix, and also that consumers will have an interesting look at those new offerings. So the question is what is the proper price point? So that brand, technology, perception meets the price they ask. So what is an attractive package? And I do think this formula, what is the best attractive package that lures clients into the showrooms and to sign a deal. So this has still to be figured out. Because at the moment, many new entrants, especially from China, they have a quite premium positioning.
I'm obviously speaking to you from Berlin, and here there'll be concern about the idea of Chinese electric vehicles being produced within Europe, because obviously Germany's car manufacturing sector is the jewel in its crown. Is there anything that the likes of Volkswagen and Mercedes-Benz can be doing to prepare themselves for the arrival of yet more Chinese electric vehicles?
I think the German automotive industry has understood that challenge and is actively working on to make itself more competitive. On one hand, it goes from mastering more parts of the value chain, speaking of battery cell production. So many German or most German OEMs, they have addressed that already proactively, right? And they are securing that part of the supply chain. Also, they are looking into their development processes, how to become faster, more efficient, more leaner, to meet that so-called China speed. This is a term that has been used very often in Germany in the last year. And also, last but not least, to bring the overall cost down, clearly, to cover gaps in the portfolio, like the much discussed battery electric entry-level vehicles, right? The sub 25,000 euro segment, which at the moment it's very difficult with European standards and European cost levels to achieve that, to serve that segment profitably.
China speed, that's a new one for me, but it's obviously something that the industry is talking about here in Germany. You know exactly what I mean just from the phrase of it. Things just seem to happen much faster in China than they do here in Germany. Let's also, if you don't mind, Peter, just have a look at another of the big developments for Asian car makers in the West, because it's not just Chinese makers that are trying to crack the West. Vietnamese electric car maker VinFast, for example, has opened its first dealership in the United States. The car lot in North Carolina is the first of 125 that the company wants to open in the US this year. One of its first offerings is the VF8, an electric 5-seat SUV, starting at $46,000. So not cheap. Some wonder if VinFast can make it in the US, since the entire EV industry is under price pressure from the likes of Tesla and, of course, the Chinese manufacturers that we've been talking about. So Peter Fintl, VinFast sold just 11,000 vehicles in the first half of 2023 compared to Tesla's 889,000. I mean, can it really reach a point where it's competing with the big guys?
I think generally the hurdles for new entrants in the markets, they have risen in the past year. So on one hand, because the big industrial giants, and also I count Tesla now nearly to the establishment, because they produce so many vehicles and they have an established sales support infrastructure now in the market, right? So they're not only producing excellent products, so which the new entrants are competing against, but also they have a working service, sales and support network in place. And we have seen in the past that this ability to talk with consumers, sell the product, service the product, bring spare parts in time and ensure that the product can be repaired. This is a large hurdle. And consumers are not really ready to make discount in this area. So for all new entrants now, the expectations on a good product are high, and also the expectation on good service are high. And this is something that doesn't happen overnight. So these are huge investments and take considerable time.
And we've talked about Chinese manufacturers opening Western factories, but VinFast is actually building a factory in the US, isn't it? Are the Americans likely to be rather less concerned about a Vietnamese manufacturer than a Chinese one?
I think this is generally a question of what is the image, the brand image of a new entrant. And clearly every new entrant has a heritage, from the country it's coming from the positioning of its product, and also how it wants to be perceived by clients. And also the price point they are selling at. This is an important part of the mixture.
Speaking of price point, actually VinFast is selling in Vietnam, so not in the US, a $20,000 electric vehicle, the diminutive even VF3, which I think we can show you some pictures of. Could these types of tiny EV actually take off in Europe and in the US?
I do believe that there is a gap in the market and a need in the market for entry-level electric mobility. So we always look, when we talk about electric vehicles, about mid-level or luxury segment. Clearly, these are fancy cars, but the reality of many buyers, especially in Southern Europe, is a different one. So they rely on affordable entry-level mobility. And at the moment, this is done via usually petrol ICE cars. And the industry, if we really want to take decarbonization seriously, the industry need to come up with an offer for affordable entry-level mobility. And this offer should not be extremely frugal, because buyers will not accept that. So we are talking here from a sufficient range with batteries from 35 to 40 kilowatt hours, right? And that should be at the consumer price, maybe 20 to 25,000 euros. And this is one of the next challenges for the OEMs.
Well, let's talk more broadly just about the electric vehicle sector in general, because I think there are questions emerging around it from particularly the big manufacturers. For example, Toyota chairman Akio Toyoda, he says that people are finally seeing the reality, as he put it, implying that traditional car makers shouldn't be focusing so much attention on electric cars. Also, Mercedes CFO has warned that not every manufacturer is going to survive the transition to EVs. Is there growing skepticism among the big traditional car makers, I suppose, about electric car production in general?
Mm-hmm. Talk about the future of EVs, the discussion always gets very quickly very dogmatic. I think it is a question of the horizon you're talking about. In the long run, the benefits of electric vehicles are clear. It's in terms of efficiency, it's in terms of environmental impacts, it's also in terms of cost. And already today you see that in many, many use cases, electric vehicles are the better alternative. So we all like the combustion engine. It has served for over 100 years a wonderful purpose. It brought mobility to the masses and propelled the economy. Fantastic. But now there is an alternative in place, which is in many, many cases already better now and will be better, the better alternative in even more cases in the future. So that's fine. And the question for the industry is how to master that transition. because it's clear, and also this is a part of the realism we need, that not for all cases. We talked about entry-level mobility, we talked about long and heavy haul. Yeah, so battery electric propulsion is maybe not there yet. So, but it will be, and this is the important point. So the question is how to master that transition and then transition period, because you still need to keep earning money. This is also clear, right? So, yeah. And I think this is what we see now, and this is by no means a fundamental skepticism on electric mobility, as I would perceive it.
And of course, there's the building out of the infrastructure as well, which is another hurdle to get over. But Peter Fintl from Capgemini Engineering, thank you so much for joining us and talking through all of this. It's been great to hear your insights.
Thank you.
And thanks a lot to you at home for watching. There's plenty more from the DW Business team here on the DW News YouTube channel. If you want more from us, click on one of our other things and I'll see you over there. Take care.